Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnuparaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutari Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Pasachari Satarini. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bhagavad-Gita as it is, 1863. Repeat after me. Iti te jnanam akyatam guyat guyataram maya vrimsyaita daseshena yate chasita Thakur. Next. Iti, thus, te, unto you, yanam, knowledge, akyatam, describe, guyat, then confidential, guyataram, still more confidential, maya, by me, virimsya, deliberating, etat, on this, asheshena, fully, yata, as, achasi, you like, tata, that, kuru, perform. Thus I will explain to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and do what you wish to do. Purport. The Lord has already explained to Arjuna the knowledge of Brahma Bhuta. One who is in the Brahma Bhuta condition is joyful. He never laments, nor does he desire anything that is due to confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses knowledge of the Supersoul. This is also Brahman knowledge of Brahman, but it is superior. Here the words Yatecha Sitata Kuru, as you like, you may act, indicate that God does not interfere with the little independence of the living entity. In Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord has explained in all respects how one can elevate his living condition. The best advice imparted to Arjuna is to surrender unto the Supersoul, seated within his heart. By right discrimination, one should agree to act according to the order of the Supersoul. That will help one become situated constantly in Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of human life. Arjuna is being directly ordered by the Personality of Godhead to fight. Surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in the best interest of the living entities. It is not for the interest of the Supreme. Before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on this subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such instruction comes also to the spiritual master, the bona fide representative of Krishna. Om Jnanatimandasya Garanjana Sarakaya Chakshurunamidam Jnana Tajmai Sri Gurave Namah. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. Thank you for coming, braving the storm. Stalwart Bhagavatam hearer. So, this makes me remember when, before I joined Krishna consciousness, I bought a Bhagavad-Gita from the temple in Toronto. I'm from Canada, and I joined in Toronto. I was living an hour away, and I met some devotees on the street in Hamilton, Ontario, an hour away from Toronto. They were distributing books, and I bought Professional Yoga, King of Knowledge, and BTG. And I read the books, and I wanted to go to the Toronto Temple to buy Bhagavad-Gita, and also buy Srimad Bhagavatam, because in the Krishna book, in the BTG, at the end of the BTG, the last page, it was advertisement for Bhagavatam. And the Bhagavatam advertisement was, the Bhagavatam is a book for the Paramahamsas. I said, wow, a book for Paramahamsa. I didn't know Paramahamsa was still reading. So I wanted to buy this book about that Paramahamsa would read. Because before I joined Krishna Consciousness, I was part of another yoga group, and I became acquainted with Paramahamsa, different terms, Samadhi, impersonal Brahman. I was destined to merge into the impersonal Brahman. But Krishna intercepted me. So I wanted to go to the Toronto temple to buy Srimad Bhagavatam, so I went there. But I ended up buying a Bhagavad-Gita hardbound and a Krishna trilogy, because the person who was there told me, it's better you buy these books. It was right. So when I read Bhagavad-Gita, I remembered only one verse after I read the entire book. Not the Sanskrit, the English. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction, do not fear. And in the sentence, do not fear, that's what I remember the most. Because I was really afraid of the material world. I was suffering quite acutely. And when Krishna promised that if we surrender to him, then he can free me from sinful reaction, that was like, it hit me really hard. And also, I was part of another yoga group, and the goal of the yoga group was to merge into Brahman. It was really a bona fide process. It was not hodgepodge. It was a mystic yogi who came from the Himalayas. He had a center in Rishikesh, and he started this international society. He was teaching how to breed. 5,000-year-old way of breathing, to prolong your life and give you energy and awaken the Kundalini, all that. So I know what Paramahamsa meant. So, but when I read Bhagavad-Gita, that's all I remember. If you surrender to me, I shall free from all sinful reaction. And I realized that merging into Brahman is good. You become free from all identification, and you become merged with the white light, whatever it meant. But it was inferior to devotional service. I had that realization, because devotional service is not selfish. Brahman realization is selfish. You want to become free yourself. You don't care about Krishna. But devotional service is meant only for Krishna. Not for our pleasure, but for Krishna's pleasure. I realized this is superior. It's a superior philosophy than what I'm doing. So I went to the temple a few times, and one day the temple president told me, this temple is not our temple, it's Krishna's temple. It's not our house, it's Krishna's house. If you want, you can come in, it's your house also. We're just here for Krishna. It doesn't belong to us. That hit me hard also. Well, okay. So I moved in. All I had was my toothbrush and toothpaste and a towel. I didn't even bring a sushi kit. And gradually I was afraid that they would kick me out because I was so spaced out, but it kind of worked out. So, the reason why I joined Krishna Consciousness is because I read the Krishna book. I bought a Krishna trilogy softbound, and in there it stated that Krishna is Bhagavan, proprietor of 6 opulence and full beauty, full knowledge, full strength, full renunciation, full fame. So I said, this is God. Got to be God. God is the definition of God. Because I stopped practicing Christianity, again became agnostic. When I went to high school, I lost my faith because of science. But when I read Krishna book, it hit me hard. This Krishna is God. And it was very clear. So I joined on the strength of reading the Krishna book. Krishna book is so powerful that it it's powerful enough to bring you inside the devotees association. Even though the Krishna book is the 10th canto, right? And it says you cannot understand the 10th canto unless you go to the 9th first canto. But Prabhupada writing is so powerful that even a person off the street like me can be influenced by the Krishna book as it is, spoken by Prabhupada, and be enticed to join Krishna consciousness. So that's what happened. On the basis of reading Krishna book, I joined Krishna consciousness. And that was the beginning. But later on, the anarthas come up. Then you have to read the other 9 cantos to go forward. So this verse is a crossroad. It's offered to the living entities. Krishna makes an offer. Okay, you surrender to me, then I'll protect you. You can do whatever you like. I spoke Bhagavad-Gita. I gave you the knowledge. Now think about it firmly with your intelligence. Don't act blindly. Just use your intelligence. And if you feel confident, then do it. So it's a crossroad. And it takes a lot of past pious activities and devotional life to take that choice. Most people don't. Like we distributed 500 million books since ISKCON started, maybe 550 million, in all languages all over the world. Is there 500 million devotees in ISKCON? Only maybe 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 maybe. So many people will read, but they don't have the credit to understand. So they don't take it. So just to go by that crossroad is the result of many reformatory process in our past lives. The reason why I was attracted and why you are attracted, because in your past life you performed devotional service. Not fully, but partially. Otherwise, you would not have been attracted to devotional life. So, what happened after we decide to surrender? Then is a process. And the process is elaborated by the Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, in Nectar of Devotion. How it's a gradual evolution, starting with Shraddha, a little faith, then Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti. Then you become, after you eliminate the anarthas in your heart, you become steady in devotional service. And through that steadiness, you develop a higher taste, ruchi. And by intensifying the ruchi, you become attached to Krishna. Then after you're attached to Krishna, and after you become even more attached to Krishna, intensely attached, Krishna bestow love of God on you. But it's explained by Rupa Goswami that unless you become attached to Krishna, you cannot attain love of God. You'll be delayed. It's just like in the material world. There's a verse in the 5th canto describing the conditioned soul, the 13th chapter, the great forest of material enjoyment. There's explained that the conditioned soul cheats, the 4 defects, it's a cheater. So the verse says that they sometimes get married, but it would alter your motive. The marriage is not based on love. It's based on other consideration. Like a woman may see a man that she's attracted to physically, but if the man cannot maintain her, she'll hesitate. So she'll make a compromise to marry a person she doesn't like, but who can maintain her financially. So they get into a relationship, but it'll alter your motive. And everything is performed. The dishes are getting washed, the meals are getting cooked, they go out on partying, and all the duties are performed regularly for a long time. But there's no love. There's no attachment. everything is done without attachment. So sadhana bhakti is a little bit like that. We heard about Krishna. We heard that he's all powerful, very rich, and he's in control of everything. So we're thinking in the back of our mind, I'm suffering. Krishna will free me from that suffering if I serve him. Plus, if I don't serve him, then my senses will overcome me, and I'll fall down in sinful life, and I'll suffer more. So to avoid suffering, I'll serve Krishna. That's the motive. So you cannot attain attachment to Krishna with these motives. They have to be cleared up. Once they're cleared up, then you have a chance to become attached. So we're going to read from a book compiled by Bhanu Swami, translated in 2006. It's The Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu, with commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami. So there's a section about the 6 qualities of pure devotional service. One of them is pure devotional service is rarely achieved. So I'm going to read a little bit of this, and we're going to elaborate on this line. I found it, when I read this, I was shocked. I was startled. Maybe you're going to be startled too, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you read it already. So, the quality that bhakti is really attained. When he talks about bhakti, he talks about Krishna prema, or bhava, the sage of bhava or prema. Because unless you have bhava or prema, you're a mixed devotee. You're still work in progress. Once you have attained bhava and prema, you can call yourself a pure devotee. So, pure devotional service is difficult to attain in 2 ways. If undertaken in great quantity, but without attachment, pure devotional service cannot be attained, even after a long time. And even if practiced with attachment, Krishna does not give the pure devotional service to the practitioners immediately. Jiva Goswami's commentary. This is from Rupa Goswami. So, pure devotional service is not given quickly by the Lord. 2 ways of being rarely attained would be meaningless. When the second line of the verse states that the Lord does not give bhakti quickly, it means that he does not give bhakti quickly even if one practices with attachment. So it's not possible to have a pure devotion without attachment. Even if we have attachment, it's still the Lord hesitates to give it. Then a commentary from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. By doing all practices through all stages, starting with Shraddha, but without attaining a Shakti, pure devotional service cannot be attained. That is because it is stated that attachment appears only after, that love of God happens only after attachment. However, even with all sadhanas and with attachment, the Lord does not quickly give pure devotional service. He gives pure devotional service after delay. In this way, pure devotional service is difficult to attain in 2 ways. And he's explained that the reason why he doesn't give love of God, even if you're attached to him, even if you have a Shakti, because he wants you to become intense in your Shakti, to become more intense in your attachment. When you are sufficiently intense, then he gives it. So, we can reflect on this, that, and then it's explained further. It says that liberation is easily attained by jnana, and material enjoyment is easily attained by sacrifice. After attaining dedication to those goals by thousands of attempts. So, in the material world, when people want material enjoyment, they want to enjoy their senses, they have to work hard. It doesn't come easy. Everybody has to work hard to have money, And if they're not attached to the goal that they set themselves up with, they cannot attain the goal. Just like somebody may watch TV and he watch these programs like America Got Talent, Britain Got Talent, and he sees that an amateur can win $1 million by singing and being chosen as the best singer. So he thinks, I'm a good singer too. My friends like my singing, so let me try this, because I can win $1 million to try. So he tries, he gets an audition, but in his heart, he's not convinced that he's that good. So he's not attached to the goal very much, so he gives up midway. So in the material world, people give up midway. Most people live a mediocre life. They are satisfied with a little. They don't want to push too much effort because they don't know the goal of life, and they don't know what they want. So they don't try hard. Those who succeed is because they attach to the goal. It's like Dhruva Maharaj. He was very much insulted, and he heard the formula for success. Go worship Krishna in the forest. He will fulfill your desire to have a kingdom greater than your grandfather, Lord Brahma. So he went, but he was very attached to the goal, very attached. Because he was very attached, he went through all these severe austerities. If he had not been attached that much, he would have given it up. So, attachment comes with conviction, dedication. It doesn't come automatically. Like it says, it comes after 1,000 attempts. So this is the non-devotees, the karmis of modern day. They don't know that you can attain greater success by knowing the Vedas and worshipping in the demigods. But those who know that to worship the demigods will bring great success, they want to try. But also they have to be convinced about this stuff. They have to be convinced that if I perform this Vedic sacrifice, it will give me the heavenly planets. First, they have to be convinced that the heavenly planet exists. They have to be convinced about that their family members, their line of they're in, their culture, whatever. They have to come to the point of believing in it. That takes many births. Then, to be enticed to do it, it's not easy. You have to chant the mantras properly. You have to do the fire sacrifice properly. It's a procedure that is very difficult. Most people will fail. So, if they persist through many lives, then you can attain the heavenly planets. Not before that. They have to be excellent. Just like, to give a crude example, like Usain Bolt. Anybody knows Usain Bolt? Usain Bolt. You know Usain Bolt? You know Usain Bolt, right? Can you tell who he is?
I don't know him personally, but he's a Jamaican runner who was the fastest by far.
Yeah.
Demigod level. Amazing.
Yeah. Talking about demigods. Yeah, he was from Jamaica. And in Jamaica, they are runners because they run away from the lions. No, just joking. They are runners and they always win the gold medal. But he was like exceptional. He would, like usually in sprint, 100 meter sprint or 200 meter, they have cameras that photograph many meters. Sometimes the race is won by a nose. So they have these cameras to take the final photo of the finishing line to determine who's the champion. They didn't need the camera for this guy. He was 20 feet away from everybody all the time. It was like way ahead. He broke all the world record over 3 Olympics. And the Olympics happen every 4 years, 12 years. Was dominating all the races. But they examine his routine. And when his co-friends, runners, would go to the party, he wouldn't go. When he would eat junk food, he never ate junk food. He never goes to the party. He was at the gym every day, torturing himself with unbelievable austerities, just to strengthen his leg muscles. So he was attached to the goal. The goal is money and name and fame for non-devotee. But because he was intensely attached to the goal, he was willing to perform the austerities. He was convinced that if I become a success, I'll earn money. He's worth $100 million. So he attained his goal. So similarly in devotional life, we have to be that intense to attain the goal. Of course, we don't have to be in anxiety about it. We don't have to be depressed about it. We are where we are, right? It takes time to clear up the anarthas, to clear up the material desires. First of all, we don't even know what we want from Krishna consciousness. Vaguely, we know we want to go back to the spiritual world, but basically, we don't know what's going on there. We just heard it in the scriptures. We think that every planet is more comfortable, it's more realistic, But anyway, but we know that Prabhupada is for real, and out of attachment, gratitude, at least out of gratitude, we should serve Krishna. If it's not out of pure love, at least we should be grateful for him, for what Krishna did for us. I remember in my non-devotional life, I hit a wall, I hit a crisis. I hit a dead end. I was 20 years old. I joined when I was 22, but at 20 years old, I was suffering intensely. And I like I said, I gave up devotional service in the Christian world because I lost my faith. But then, because I was suffering so much, I said, well, let me try to pray to God. I didn't try that for a long time. Maybe he can help me. Somehow I put my head on the floor. Christians don't do that. They don't put their head on the floor. Muslims do that. Hindus do that. Christians, they kneel. Somehow or other, this is serious. I'm in serious trouble. So I gotta be serious about this prayer. So I put my hand on the floor and I told God, if he exists and he take me out of this predicament, I'll be grateful to you for the rest of my life. And it happened. Miraculously, I was taken out of this problem, and out of gratitude and also fear, I joined Krishna consciousness. And I'm still fearful and grateful, so I'm still in there. I'm not finished with the process. So, so Krishna consciousness is the bona fide process. That's why it's so difficult. That's why it's not easy. That it's a long run. It's over many years, decades. You have to stick to it. And Krishna will test you at different stages. We'll see how sincere you are, and you have to pass the test. We have to pass the test. And you all pass the test because you're here. You have to continue passing the test until the final test, the time of death. So, but it says, if somebody follow the process properly by Jiva Goswami, he says, although it requires great dedication that does not come after thousands of practice, if you practice properly and you go to the different stages and you're sincere, success is guaranteed. You'll get love of God. Krishna will give it to you because he's a loving God. He wants to give it to us, but it takes a little work. It's not given freely. Like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that when he would glance at somebody, he would attain love of God. But it's not completely true, because of the story of Krishna Das, the servant that was attracted by the gypsy women, the Patataris. He was attracted, although he was serving Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was with him personally. How many times did he glance at him? Many times. So it's more than a glance. Like, although it's also stated, I read it today, that anybody who saw Lord Chaitanya became spiritually strong, but not totally, completely liberated. Just like also the story of Kurma Brahman. Kurma Brahman was a Grihastha, and Lord Chaitanya passed through South India, passed through his village. He became attracted to Lord Chaitanya. So he decided to follow him, give up his family life. And Lord Chaitanya refused. He said, "You're not ready for this. Go back to your family, do your duty, and when you're ready later on, when you're truly renounced, maybe you can think about it." And that's the general instruction he gave to everybody he met in South India. On the other hand, Sanatan Goswami was also a Grihastha. And he also wanted to join Krishna consciousness, wanted to join Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya told him to be patient, that very soon he'll be free. And when he became free, and he went to Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya was happy to have him in his association. He didn't tell him, "You go back to your family." Why? Because he was another level of Krishna consciousness, really achieved. He was ready for love of God. So, like that, you see, like here, every morning we go to the morning program, and everybody is chanting and dancing enthusiastically. But that has to be performed through decades, maybe lifetimes, before we develop this real attachment that's intense enough to be accepted by Lord Chaitanya and receive love of God. Anyway, I don't want to discourage too much anybody. And also, I heard recently in Mayapur, somebody gave class, and he was saying that even if we're not pure, even if we're not ready, we're not fully purified, still, Prabhupada said, "Hang on to my dhoti, I have the key for the back door of Vaikuntha." In other words, if you believe in Prabhupada, even if you're not ready, Prabhupada will let you in, Vaikuntha. So, I have a hard time with this, because it's like saying, like the Christian, they say, accept Jesus in your heart and you'll be saved. Accept Prabhupada in your heart and you'll be saved. You don't need to be completely purified. It's true and not true at the same time. Otherwise, if that was true, that simply accepting Prabhupada and not being completely pure, you can go back to God. Why would Prabhupada write all these books? Don't write any books. Just chant Hare Krishna, be attached to Prabhupada. You're going to make it. Why all this detailed philosophy? And why did Prabhupada wanted us to read his books? We can meditate on that we have to follow the science of devotional service. It's a science. It's not a whimsical, sentimental process. So that's one point. Another point, there's some truth to that also. There's a story illustrating that even if somebody is not very advanced spiritually, if he renders very important service to Srila Prabhupada, there's enormous benefit. And there's an example of this in the book of Giriraj Swami, Let There Be a Temple, about the Bombay temple. The devotees, they were trying to get a permit to build a temple. They had the land. They finally won over Mr. Nair. They had the land, but they didn't have a permit to build. So every day, 6 or half a dozen devotees would go to the government office, sit there all day to get the permit. They would put forward their arguments. It went on like this for a whole year. They would not get the permit. But then there was this Hindu gentleman was a friend of the devotees, not even a big friend, not even a devotee, not a big devotee. He told the devotees, you have to bribe them. I have to wait that microphone comes back on. I don't have a good voice. It's going to come back. Okay. So he said, you have to bribe them. You have to get them money, then you'll get the permit. So they went to Prabhupada and they told, this guy says that if we bribe them, they're going to give us the permit. So they talk among themselves. They concluded, no, he's a cheater. You should not do that. So they said no. Then the next morning, Prabhupada gave him the money. Prabhupada changed his mind. So he went to the office and came back empty-handed. He said, I need to get more money. Devotees talk again with Prabhupada. They said, no, he's a cheater. He failed one time, he's not going to succeed. The next day, Prabhupada gave him more money. He went, came back with a permit. What 6 devotees could not do in 1 year, he did it in 2-3 days. And Prabhupada was overjoyed. He was so completely ecstatic that he got a permit to build a temple. And he told that man, because of that service you have done, you're going to go back home, back to God at Vrindavan. And the man said, no, Prabhupada, you don't know who I am. I'm a sinful person. I cannot go back home, back to God at Vrindavan. And Prabhupada told him, do not worry, I shall take care of that. So it's another statement that there's some truth to that, because Prabhupada is a Sakyavash avatar. He's like empowered. And also Krishna can give complete forgetfulness to anybody, anytime he wants, without it even being qualified. So both things are there. But we advise to follow the science of devotional service and study and make progress, not depend on Siddha, Kripa Siddha, like bonus. Better put our head into the hard work. Okay, I will stop here. If you have any question or comments, you can feel free to.
Didn't understand the last thing which you said just now. The last thing.
That there's 3 ways to attain perfection. There's sadhana siddha, sadhana, through sadhana, through mercy from the Guru, causeless mercy, kripa siddha, and the other one is? Huh? Nitya siddha is always liberated. So these 3 come to the same platform. But Prabhupada says kripa siddha is very rare. It's like getting an honorary degree from a university, although you're not qualified for it. Out of respect and honor, they give you an honorary degree. It's very rare. We should not depend on it. It's called kripa siddha. Also another example, somebody did something very important, is Brahmananda Prabhu. He was giving money to maintain 26 2nd Avenue because he was the only devotee that was working. He was the only one making money, so he was giving in money to Prabhupada to maintain the 26 2nd Avenue temple open. Then he got Macmillan to print Bhagavad-Gita as it is, a big service. So also himself is recipient of Prabhupada's mercy. Like recently, I've been 6 months in India now. I was 5 months in Mayapur, came from Canada. And when I was in Mayapur, I contracted this throat problem, like inflamed vocal cord. So I couldn't chant. I can chant my rounds, but I cannot chant during kirtan. It's hard for me. It's also hard for me to give class. So then I could not chant during kirtan. It's hard for me to chant japa. So I was kind of like facing a situation I never faced before. How am I going to maintain my Krishna consciousness? So I changed it over. I would go to the Ganges regularly, and I would ride my bike from Gornagar to the temple, my bicycle, pedal bike, 4 times a day, back and forth. At morning program, I would go and come back. Then evening program, I would go and come back. I was going on Harinam every night, But I would stand there and just move my lips and go like this, Not really chanting. But still, because I was in the Harinam, it was almost the same benefit. And in here, because I was forced to hear more, depend more on the hearing process, at Mangalarti, you hear the devotees singing. And the devotees are singing really loud. They're at the tops of their lungs, everybody. Just to show how sincere people are about devotional service. We're talking about not being sincere, but when you hear the devotees, they really mean it. So you hear this sound vibration and you feel Krishna's presence in the holy name by hearing. So you should not give up, no matter what happens, even if you can't chant Hare Krishna. You can pay obeisances. What I do here, I go visit the 5 temple, Radha Raman, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gopinath, Radha Damodar, Radha Shyamasundar. They're all close together. And I pay my obeisances and wave by Haribo Haribo. And then just by paying obeisances, I'm maintaining my devotional life. Otherwise, I'll be finished. So, we have surrender means whatever Krishna puts you through, you have to accept and not be angry with it, not be upset. Just, I understand it's Krishna's mercy, there's a reason for it, and it's for my benefit. Haribo. Any comments? About the hearing process.
Yeah.
It's only by hearing that you can dissolve all your doubts. Like our enthusiasm is not there because we have doubts, and also anarthas. So these two things, they can be cured if we become convinced by the hearing process. Sometimes you don't even have to hear from Prabhupada. You can hear from normal devotees, your friends, your associates, your god sister, god brothers. They can help you. They represent Prabhupada. Sometimes we need assistance from our god brothers. Daily assistance. Sometimes we need to be followed, like a sick patient. He's in ICU, intense care unit. Every day he's there. Sometimes you're in ICU devotionally. Every day you got to have some input. Every day you must get something from somebody. So we should never be alone. We should have at least one friend that you can tell everything you need to tell. Reveal your heart fully. No barriers, not everybody can do that. Only one sincere friend. When you express yourself fully, you always find some enthusiasm down the line. Because there's no reason to give up Krishna consciousness, even if you're the most sinful person. There's no reason. It's not a sufficient reason to give up Krishna consciousness. Even if he cannot follow the four regular principle, he can still be a devotee. And gradually, he can work on it. There's no reason to give up Krishna consciousness at any level. But you have to hear continuously. And things, if you're sincere, you'll overcome your anarthas by Krishna's mercy, by Prabhupada's mercy. Not by Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy, but it's Prabhupada that offering us the chance. So by doing what Prabhupada says to do, like what did he say? You distribute prasadam to people, distribute books, make life member, do deity worship, chant Hare Krishna. You have to be compassionate to people. So even if you're not compassionate, if you follow the procedures of compassion, you distribute prasadam, even if you don't care that much about it. It's going to work because it's Prabhupada's order. So even if we have motive, if we follow the order of the Guru, some effect will be there. And the purification will take place when the spiritual master is sufficiently pleased that you obtain your goal. You must be sufficiently pleased. You will be sufficiently pleased if you're intense about your devotional service, not casual. If you really try your best, you give your full energy, you try your full and you tolerate the utmost suffering that comes your way, Krishna will be compassionate. He's looking for your sincerity. Even if you're not sincere, if you keep on going, you'll become sincere. Happened to me. It can happen to you. Thank you very much for attending class. It was very pleasing to talk to you. Good luck with your devotional life. Haribol. Wish me good luck too. I need all the luck I can get from everybody. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna.